Welcome to our 5 on 5. We're pleased to be joined by Jackson County Commissioner Doug Breidenthal. We're talking about wildfires and air quality in the state of Oregon. Doug, good to see you again. How are you?
Good to see you. Nice to be here.
Yeah, thank you very much for being here. So first, we obviously saw a horrible wildfire season here in Southern Oregon and Oregon in general this summer. What have you found in your work with the Association of Oregon Counties as you've looked into this?
Well, what we're noticing is a statewide trend on particulate levels and smoke impacts on communities. And we're noticing through July and August that there's been a severe impact, including one that has impacted the city of Portland very severely. So we're compiling that data right now and tying and correlating that with the Oregon Health Authority to look at respiratory and eye-related illnesses throughout the state. And we're seeing sharp increases in those particular areas through this time period.
Okay, so what do we do now? Where do we go from here?
Well, right now what we're looking at is getting a public information out there, talking to the public, saying, hey, this is real. We have a risk of these wildfires in your community. This is because of active management procedures or protocols right now. Mm-hmm. So the key to this is contact your U.S. Senator and let them know that they need to work on legislation this cycle that will fix some of these active management pieces and stop this type of injury.
Okay, so obviously we had a horrible year this year, and it does kind of seem to ebb and flow, but looking towards next year, you're thinking it's going to be another bad one? Is that a possibility or a likelihood?
No one can ever predict the future or the weather accurately, 100%.
There you go, sure.
But reality is we're looking at a climate that appears to be warming or drying for whatever reason. It is what it is, and we're in a drought cycle. So if we go ahead and continue on, like I've said before, this is the new normal. And I would say that you might want to brace for these types of impacts.
Interesting. All right, very good. We're going to take a quick break. We'll have much more in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Jackson County Commissioner Doug Breidenthal. We're talking about wildfire and the impact on our health. So as you're looking at this, Doug, why are you looking at this and trying to correlate this data?
Well, there's such a huge impact to our vulnerable members of our society. We have elderly that are over the age of 65 who have a severe risk or more prone to this type of a risk, asthmatics and people with respiratory pieces. One big piece that really has me concerned is a lot of the carcinogens contained in a cigarette, the smoke of cigarette, are the same carcinogens contained in the smoke of a wildfire. And the USDA came out with that information, and they've also come out with data that says if you live in a community where the wildfire was in 50 miles of where you live, it is just like working on that wildfire on the front line. Wow. If you were the firefighter on the front line. Wow. So when I saw and read that data, I started making correlations. Okay, what is this really doing to our community? How is this hurting us on a public health threat? So I've sort of talked to other commissioners across the state, started compiling the data from the Health Authority, compiling the data from the Department of Environmental Quality, and as we're looking, it's a really big picture. This isn't just the state of Oregon. This is a national piece. So how do we help our communities? How do we make sure that they're protected? We have to look for active forest management, and we have to compel our U.S. senators to do something about it, because now from looking at the data and the science behind some of this stuff, we're having a health impact.
Okay, so I noticed you mentioned twice now senators, so you're talking about the U.S. Senate, not critical. The U.S. House.
Right, it's U.S. Senate critical, because there's management pieces out right now, 2647, which was passed by the House of Representatives. The active management component is being considered by the U.S. Senate, but unless the U.S. Senate picks that piece up and carries it forward for a bill for Obama to sign, we're not going to see anything. So our 2 U.S. senators are key right now to be able to get something done to keep the wildfire smoke out of our communities. Okay,
very good. Thank you for explaining that. So what about looking at, you're now not just Oregon, you're trying to branch out to other Northwest states and trying to get them to tabulate their data, correct?
I have the privilege of serving the National Association of Counties for the Western Interstate region, currently the Vice President. Last week at our board meeting in Boise, we met, and this was one of the topics of discussion. I asked the commissioners from the other states and the executive directors for those state associations to start compiling this type of data within their state so that they can look at the health impacts. And there's several things that we're looking at here. There's costs that, as they're related to the fire itself, everybody knows it costs to put firefighters on the ground. But what are the true costs on the healthcare system? As we look at healthcare being such sort of out of control right now and really expensive, what are we doing? We're adding and contributing to the cost of the healthcare system through this sharp spike. How do we quantify that and help people understand that part of the reason this is happening is because we're not managing the forests, actively managing those forests like we need to be. It's been a long time, they're overstocked, we need to do something to clean them up. But until we do that, this is the new normal. And are we willing to pay the cost financially and with our health as we move into the future?
I wish we had more time, Doug. Good to see you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.